Welcome to the Becoming You show, where limits get torched and possibility takes the mic. I'm Leah Rowling, human in permanent beta, neurostrategist, mom to 3 amazing humans, married to 1 legendary soul, and your no fluff permission slip to stop waiting. Every week, we rewire brain patterns, smash hand-me-down mindsets, and dive into the daring, identity-shifting conversations most people dodge. Ready to turn potential into proof? Grab your pen. Your next chapter starts now. Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Becoming You show. I am your host, Leah Rowling, and I am so grateful that you're here. We are halfway through this series. This is episode 3 of 4. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for staying with the work, and thank you for being the kind of human, right, who is willing to keep looking inward, right, when most of the world is looking outward and wondering why nothing changes. So that's the leadership of looking, the leadership of being willing to see, to own, to be and hold responsibility and governance for themselves is the rarest, I think, leadership there is. And so you're here practicing it. So thank you. I want to start today with a question. So we're going to take a breath, and I want you to ask yourself honestly and participate, please, because I think if you follow with me and answer this question for yourself, this will be a way more impactful conversation than just hearing me talk about my words and my experiences. So I want you to ask yourself, what am I tired of? Right? Not in a complaining way, but in a noticing way. Okay? What relationship in my life am I tired of that keeps maybe coming up empty? What am I maybe tired of waiting for? What am I tired of needing from other people to be, to do, to say differently? What am I tired of trying to get from someone who is not giving to me what I want? Okay, it might be your partner, might be your parent, it might be a friend or a boss or a sibling or a kid, or it might be the members on your team, right? It might be someone who you've lost and has passed away. It might be someone that you haven't talked to in years, but who is still living in your head rent-free. So what am I tired of waiting for? And I want you to hold that with me, because here's what I have come to know in my work and what we are going to name in this episode. Okay? You are not exhausted because of your relationships. You are exhausted because you most likely, as have I, outsourced more of our emotional life than we have realized, right? Meaning your approval, your assurance, your closure, your worth, your own level of enoughness and value, right? You have been asking and waiting for other people to give that to you. People, right, who in many cases cannot give that to you no matter how badly you want them to, or no matter how badly they want to. Right? People who in some cases do not even know that that is what's being asked of them. And then there are people in other cases that are just completely, entirely wrong for the job at hand. Okay? All of that I call outsourcing, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. And it is the most expensive habit in your relational life. So let me name what outsourcing actually means in kind of a relational context. Outsourcing is when you, okay, have located a part of your emotional life inside another person. And now they are the source, right? The source of your sense of being enough, the source of your sense of being chosen, the source of your sense of you being good at what you do, the source of your sense of your own mattering, the source of your sense of being loved, right? The source of your peace, okay? When the source is outside of you, right? You have outsourced. So I want to be careful here because connection matters, and I get a lot of pushback on this, okay? Being known matters. Being affirmed by people you love matters. Feeling appreciated matters. Being told that you're doing a good job matters. Okay? None of that, my friends, is in question. The question is, what is your source? Right? What is the place that you go to fuel up? Right? What is the place that you go to continue to fuel up? Right? And if the answer is another human, and I coach a lot around this, and a lot of times it is, and especially if it is one specific human, as I mentioned earlier, whose capacity you cannot control. And even if they tried, it would still be insufficient. You have outsourced your sourcing. And outsourcing has a cost. And the cost is what we brought forward in that first question is exhaustion. What are you tired of? Because when you outsource the source of your own value, your own mattering, your own love, your own likability, when you outsource that, it's tiring. That's cost one. Cost two, dependency. Because their availability, their accessibility, their willingness to meet you with whatever it is that you need to fill up on, whether that's love, whether that's assurance, whether that's appreciation, whether that's praise, whatever that is, determines your emotional state. We do this all the time. If they would just do this, if they would just say this, we would feel better. And that's just not how this work works. Okay? That requires dependency on another person doing or saying or something so that you can feel better. That is the essence of delegating your emotional well-being to somebody else. The cost is also bitterness because they keep failing and will continue to fail to deliver something that you keep requesting, that you keep expecting, that you keep wishing for. And over time, that unmet request, that unmet expectation turns into resentment. Okay. So now we're exhausted, we're bitter, we're dependent, and we're paralyzed. The cost is paralysis because you cannot move forward, right? Until they say the thing, do the thing, give the apology, see what they did, appreciate you, validate you, honor you, affirm you. Paralysis. You just avoid. You avoid moving forward in your own life and you wait desperately for permission to do something different with it. It's also performance, right? Gosh, do I know this one well? Because if your worth, if your lovability, if your enoughness, if your own mattering, if your own sense of accomplishment is all wrapped up and outsourced, you are going to bend to keep getting the fuel. to keep getting the supply. You will bend, you will accommodate, you will placate, you will pretend, you will please, you will perform in order to ensure that next level of love, that next level, that any sort of assurance of your own awesomeness, if it comes from somebody else, we are screwed. And the one cost that hurts the most is that you start to believe, right, that this fuel source that isn't able to meet you and to meet the demands of you ever is a verdict on you. Is a verdict on you. And you will have lots of proof, right? They're not giving me this because I'm not worthy of it. This is not happening. They're not apologizing because maybe I'm the one that was in error here. And then you start second guessing and you start doubting your own level of enoughness, of worthiness, of love. And then you will double down on trying to get it from the places that it was never available for you to get. And so today we're going to talk about two, there's many, but two of the very specific patterns that I see most often in this outsourcing context. And by the end of this conversation, my hope is that you will be able to spot exactly, right, where you have been doing this, right? When I asked you, where are you tired? In what relationship are you outsourcing? You'll find yourself in one of these patterns. I'm pretty sure. And so you'll have the awareness to see it and exactly how to take it back. So the first pattern is what I'm going to call outsourced assurance. Okay? Outsourced assurance sounds like this. I'll feel okay about myself when they tell me that I'm doing a good job. When they tell me, right, that, or I'll feel like I'm enough when they say I'm enough. I'll know that I'm a good mom when my kids tell me that I am. I'll know that I'm a good wife when my husband says that I am. I'll feel chosen when they pick me, when they sign up for me, when they say yes to my proposal. I'll feel valuable when they give me the title or they give me the raise or the acknowledgement or the role, okay? Outsourced assurance is not love. It's a job interview, right? A job interview that you have been on for tens and tens of, maybe not decades, that no one was hiring for. And I want you to feel that because some of you have been auditioning, interviewing for a role inside someone else's life, for a place, for a thought, for a belief, for a feeling that was somebody else's entirely. And you were hoping that the audition or the interview would end with with your own self-assurance that you are enough. And that audition has been the entire relationship, or at least a good portion of it. And that is not connection. That, as I mentioned earlier, the cost, that is performance. And no one can love you while you are performing for them, right? I want you to really think about that. They're not loving the real version of you. They're loving the version of you that performs for their accolades, for their assurances, for their acceptance. Because if they accept you, then you now have permission to possibly accept yourself. And how has that been going? For most of my clients, and I know for me, it didn't go well. It just gave me more doubt and more hopelessness that I would never be who I wanted to be. Because there's no amount of assurance that anybody can give me that's going to make me feel self-assured. That assurance needs to be insourced, not outsourced. So here's what assurance actually is. It's insourced. It's something that you give yourself out loud, on purpose, in writing, if needed. You get to decide what is true about you. You get to decide whether you're doing your best. You get to decide that you are a good parent, partner, friend, human, employee, employer. You get to decide that you are enough. You get to decide that you are loved. You do not audition for it. You do not interview for it. And here's the part that is really hard to hear. The people that you most want assurances from are usually the people that are least capable of giving it. Not because they do not love you, not because they do not care, but because their capacity is what it is, right? The parent that could never tell you that they were proud. They can't. Even now, that has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with their capacity. The partner who cannot say the affirming thing, that cannot choose to behave in a way that you want them to behave, that cannot love you in the way that you want to be loved, that has nothing to do with your own lovability. It has to do with the capacity, and they can't. It's the boss who cannot acknowledge what you bring. They cannot acknowledge with any level of enthusiasm or appreciation, not because you don't deserve it. They don't have the capacity to give it, right? Some people are working with the capacity that they have. Scratch that. Most people, all people are, right? And their capacity is a statement about them. It's not a verdict about you. And you can keep going back to that empty well. You can keep going back to the fuel that actually won't source anything. And you can get mad at it for not working. You can get mad at it for being empty. Or you can dig your own well. Or you can source your own fuel. And you can do that. So I want to share something personal, right? I spent years and years and years waiting on a specific kind of acknowledgement from a specific person in my life. And I would track when it did not come, and I would feel hurt when it did not come. And I would say to myself, I just need to hear it. I just need to hear it once. And then one day I sat down and I wrote down exactly what I wanted them to say. And I'm going to invite you to do the same exercise. If you are waiting for someone to say something, if you're waiting for somebody to do something, right? I want you to write down what they would say. I want you to write down what they would do and thereby what you would make it mean that they did what they did. And then I want you to read the words back to you. And what hit me was I had been waiting on someone else to give me a sentence that I had been refusing to give myself. And that was, I was worthy enough. I was lovable enough. And the moment that I gave it to myself, meant it all the way down, said it with my full whole chest, the waiting stopped. The outsourcing stopped. The resentment around the person literally started to dissolve. And it wasn't because they ever said the sentence. It's not ever going to be because they did what you want them to do, or they said what they wanted them to say. Do you know what happens? You stop needing them to. You stop needing them to. And that's the exercise that I want you guys to do this week, right? I want you to write down the sentence that you have been waiting on someone to say to you. And then I want you to ask, can I say it to myself? Can I mean it? Most of you can, you just haven't. Okay? So that's the first pattern. The second pattern is what I'm going to call outsourced closure, right? The first one was assurance. This is closure. So this looks like when they apologize. I'll move on. When they finally see what they did to me, I will release it. When they say sorry the right way, right? We've got all sorts of conditions on the apologies, right? Some people want apologies that have agreements behind it, meaning I'm sorry and this is what I will do moving forward. Some people just want I'm sorry with a period. We got all these conditions on the way that the apology is received, right? If the closure also comes from if we could just have one more conversation, I could let it go. I coach a lot of people on grief on this one. Just one more day, just one more hour, just one more conversation. If I only would have had that, then I would be able to let it go. Once they admit what they did, once they take ownership for the way they made me feel, right? Listen to this. I will be okay. You're waiting for someone else to unlock a door that has been open to you the whole time. They don't have the key. You do. Closure is not something they give you. Closure is something that you decide. Right now, it is a choice that you can decide, right? It is the moment that you say, I'm no longer keeping this file open on them. I am no longer renting space in my head to a conversation that may or may not ever happen. I no longer am waiting on an apology that they may not be capable of giving, that they might not see that it is owed, and they most likely may not remember what was needed. I'm closing this loop because I am the only one who can. This is not forgiveness. This is absolution. This is not pretending that it didn't happen. This is not minimizing what occurred. This is just refusing to organize your present life around an unfinished conversation from your past. Period. Period. You can grieve and still close the loop. You can be angry and still close the loop. You can have boundaries and still close the loop. You can be done with this person and still close the loop. Closing the loop is not about them. It's about you. It's about reclaiming and resourcing you. And so I want to bring this back to lovability just for a moment because I think it all ties together. We outsource assurance and closure because somewhere along the way we forgot or were never told that we're 100% lovable, 100% worthy, and it is our birthright. And I know I've been bringing this forward a lot on these conversations, and that's because at some point in time, you just get to decide. And if you knew all the way down, you would not need someone else to verify it. So if you still do, the work, the practice is on the commitment, the demarcation line, the your own reliance on yourself to practice not being unworthy, right? So if you knew it all the way down, you would not interpret somebody's silence as an answer. You would not read their behaviors as your worth. You would say they are working with their capacity and I am working with mine. And the verdict on me is already in. I am loved, I am worthy, I am enough. That is not an affirmation. That is a level of sovereignty that I welcome everyone in this conversation and every human in the world to understand, right? When you stop outsourcing your worth, the relationships often, like 99% of the time get better because you stop arriving with an empty cup demanding to be filled. You start arriving with your cup already full, available for connection without the audit, without the manual, without the expectation that they should be different, right? People can feel the difference even if they cannot name it. Even if you can't name it, they feel the difference, right? So, as we close, you are the CEO of your own life, right? The CEO needs to decide. The CEO does not wait for the board to validate every move. The CEO does not need permission. The CEO does not outsource the call. The CEO does not wait for the closure, right? The CEO gives the assurance. The CEO is the one who knows. When you outsource, you have demoted yourself. You have made someone else the CEO of your life. And then you're mad at them for not running your life the way that you would have if you had kept the seat. This work is to take your seat back. You are the CEO. You consult. You decide. You close. You assure. You assure. Okay, so who are you waiting on for assurance? And who are you waiting for closure? Understanding this is imperative for you to take back full governance and full ownership of your life. So next week, we're going to wrap the series up with boundaries, what they are, what you've been calling them, what they're not. And it might be the hardest episode of the entire series, but also the most freeing. So, my beautiful friends, have an amazing, amazing day. Take this conversation, integrate it, do the work. Don't just listen. Don't just hit stop. Don't tell me you're going to do it later. Sit with it now. You've got 5 minutes to sit with it. So much is going to come up for you when you sit with these questions and you get serious about them. Right? Relationships are serious business. And your worth is serious business. Take it seriously. Until next time. Take care. Bye-bye. If this episode cracked something open, good. Let it. And then head to leahrollingcoaching.com and grab the tools to rewire the story and reclaim your future. It is yours. And then share this with someone who's still waiting to be chosen, still waiting for permission, and remind them they don't need a breakthrough, that they are the breakthrough. Until next time, my beautiful friends, invest in you and keep becoming.